Back here on a beautiful sunny day for season number 1 for Coach DeBoer, taking over for the greatest to ever do it, the 7-time national champion Nick Saban. And now he stands on the field named after Saban. Now listen, here's the start. We get it, 5-2. That doesn't happen down here. But look at what he did at Washington in his first 6 games. He went on to win the next 21, Jordan.
Kalen DeBoer is a winner, right? I know the sky is falling right now for Alabama fans. You didn't expect to have 2 losses before October. It's been a long time since that's happened, but he has a track record of getting things right. He's an offensive-minded coach. Just saw Jalen Milroe. I expect this product today to be much improved and get back on track to what these fans expected.
Alabama won the toss. They elect to defer. So Brady Cook, who, as you heard moments ago, said, I realize I have about 2.5 games left to play at home. I'm going to find a way, when he decided to get back out there on the badly injured ankle a week ago and make that heroic comeback. And he's going to give it a go here at Alabama. The Missouri starting quarterback who has been missing time in practice all week, just trying to put himself in any position to go toe-to-toe with that guy, Jalen Milroe, today. Homecoming weekend here in Tuscaloosa. Alabama has won 20 straight homecoming games. Connor Talty, the redshirt freshman from Chicago, will get our afternoon started, kicking to Joshua Manning for Mizzou. And all week long, we didn't expect to say this, but let's bring out Brady Cook to lead the Missouri offense, Jordan.
Yeah, when he's healthy, he's one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the entire country. He's 17-3 over his last 20 starts. He's a winner. It's the mobility, though, that sets him apart and sets his game apart. So that's something to pay attention to early in this game. That right ankle sprain. How much can he move? How did they get the ball out of his hands? Is he a part of the run game? All questions that need to be answered for Alabama and Missouri here early.
Well, a run game that is without their starting running back, Nate Noel. Marcus Carroll gets the start. They get the ball quickly to Burden, and Burden is wrapped up immediately by Malachi Moore.
And I expect to see a lot of that, getting the ball out of Brady Cook's hands really early. You mentioned the injuries. They're without their starting running back, without their leading wide receiver, Mookie Cooper, from last week. Another piece they like to move all over the place, so a lot of responsibility in Burden. Going to be on Luther Burden today to get this offense going.
There is Luther Burden III, top NFL prospect, star receiver for Mizzou. Flea flicker on the second play, and ripped down is Brady Cook. That was Campbell coming in right away. The flea flicker stopped nothing from Bama's defense.
Yeah, you got to get the linebackers to pause and watch Campbell right here. He's not going to pause at all. Sees it the entire way, triggers right away, and Brady Cook has no time to push that ball downfield. Nothing was open either. It was double covered as well. So really good job by this Alabama defense.
3rd down and 18 after the sack by Campbell. Four-man rush, and that is caught just beyond the 30-yard line by Brett Norfleet, but obviously well short of the line to gain.
You see Brady Cook kind of trotting off there, doing some high knees, trying to see how loose he can get. Great throw right there to Norfleet, another guy that was questionable all week. They have him healthy. That's big for this offense, but they're going to have to figure out how to get ahead of the chains with a quarterback that's not mobile like he's used to.
Cole Adams back to return the Luke Bauer punt. As Bauer skies it to the 22-yard line where the fair catch is called for. Jalen Milroe coming off the loss against Tennessee. He said, we can simply reflect on how to get better. We talked to him yesterday in terms of what he's focusing in on, he said, my proper eye discipline and footwork, and simply the fact that I have to give our guys a chance. He puts a lot on himself.
No doubt. I mean, you can see that he carries the weight of all the outside noise of this program being 5-2. Small things with his footwork and his eyes to clean up, but still one of the more dangerous players in all of college football when the ball's in his hands.
Quickly gets it out and gets it complete to Robbie Oots. Impact players are built by the Home Depot.
A couple really good matchups today on both sides of the football. On Alabama's side, Ryan Williams, a dynamic 17-year-old wide receiver. If you've never heard, he's 17 years old. I think everybody said it a million times. He's so talented. Jam Miller as well, and a couple talented guys on the other side at linebacker that'll be trying to wrangle them all game.
Jam Miller straight ahead as the pile push will make it a 3rd and short. Flag comes in and Christian Williams in the middle of it. Watch the end of this. See Tyler Booker's helmet coming off.
After the play, personal foul, face mask, defense number 5, 15-yard penalty, first down.
I tell you what, Tyler Booker rubs a lot of people the wrong way because he is so talented. He's so big. He's so physical. The #1 guard on Mel Kiper's big board for the 2025 draft.
And by the way, any NFL general manager who spends time with him is going to fall in love with the guy. I mean, he's a dynamic personality and so smart and such a natural-born leader. This is Dupree, C.J. Dupree, driven back just short of midfield. That was Marvin Burks. Of course, C.J. Dupree was very vocal this week into the realities of what Bama's dealing with.
Yeah, he kind of mentioned those details, right? We need to get back to the small things, how we tuck our shirts in, when we show up to meetings, not being late, all the little things off the field that ends up manifesting itself on the little things or the blown plays or missed assignments on the field. You see what he said right here. I love that the leadership of this team is taking the responsibility on themselves. You know, we're always used to Nick Saban being the one that dictates it and controls it, and that's what we talked about, the standard and the culture that was. In this Kalen DeBoer culture, you need leaders to police that. You need leaders to uphold that standard, and C.J. Dupree very outspoken to see if he can get his team to respond.
Pausing the action there as Cole Adams was being helped off the field by the medical team. There is Coach Saban sitting up high. I always wonder, you know, when he sits back here and watches this team now, what goes through his mind?
He's seeing the game like a coach. Nothing has changed. He's doing play calls in his head. He's probably got a call sheet in front of his lap there.
2nd and 6 as K-Law's trying to turn the corner, and he does, and that is the speed of Kendrick Law.
I spoke to Nick Sheridan, the offensive coordinator, at practice yesterday. He mentioned we have to get Kendrick Law the ball in space. He is a linebacker that plays receiver. Deebo Samuel, tight body, and so explosive, like you mentioned, Joe, to turn the corner there. With how much they're struggling against the blitz, getting the ball in the perimeter in space, that's the key to success today.
Looked like it could have gone for no gain. It goes for 21 yards, and here he is again, but this time they're able to get to him right away as making the tackle was Deloach. This Mizzou defense that has the challenge of going up against Milroe and all the speed on Alabama. You see top 10 in points per game, yards per game, passing yards per game.
Yeah, they've been stingy. It all starts up front. Chris McClellan, you see there. Zion Young probably had his best game of his career last week. This is a defensive front that needs to take over the game here.
Second and 7. They swing it to Bernard. Jeremy Bernard. And only able to get a couple of yards there. Missouri defense quick to the ball that time.
See Brady Cook trying to stay loose on the sideline there. I think that's going to kind of be the storyline, right? I mean, we obviously know he's not 100%, but Is he going to last 2, 3, 4 quarters, right? I mean, we're gonna find out real soon just what they're able to do with him. But they'll need their defense to come up with a stop here on 3rd down.
3rd and 5, short pitch to Haynes. Nothing at all. Tackled for a loss that time. Great pursuit by Newsom.
That's a really good job there by Dalen Carnell as well. Trying to get a couple blockers outside. Carnell just dives to turn that back in and allow his guys to clean up the tackle there on 3rd down. That's one of those things that'll never show up in a stat column anywhere. Not a tackle, not an assist. They don't have those on defense, but that's exactly what it was to allow his guys to make the tackle there on 3rd.
Bram Nicholson, the transfer from Miami of Ohio, won the Lou Groza Award a year ago. This will be a 47-yard attempt for Nicholson. And that was well driven, well struck, and right on through. So Bama gets the ball and comes right down the field and puts 3 on the board. But we will see what Brady Cook looks like this go round. Mizzou back on offense when we return.
The ankle injury, Brady Cook was unable to practice much for Missouri this week. Now, he was able to go through walkthrough on Thursday, but that was about it. So he's been on the sideline stretching, using the Theragun on his glutes and hamstrings. Worth mentioning that Eli Drinkwitz said this is the first time he's ever played a quarterback after not practicing much in the week, but he felt like since Cook is a 3-year starter, a veteran, established, that he had confidence in doing so, guys. And
that's the direction they went. The guy, Brady Cook, who in his last 20 games has a 17-3 record. The backup is Drew Pine, the well-traveled Drew Pine, who played at Notre Dame and Arizona State as well. Eli Drinkwitz, his 5th season at Mizzou. He had to talk plenty and answer many questions about Brady Cook this week, Jordan. Here is what he said in terms of trusting him and not doubting him.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw it last week against Auburn. He is an absolute warrior. And as you see there, Drink said he'd die on the field for everybody in this building. Nobody doubts him. You see that. You see that around the guys. You see him when he's on the field warming up. When I was talking to him earlier, just everybody coming up to him, giving him encouraging words and gaining confidence from just seeing him out there.
Marcus Carroll straight ahead. Remember, it was a 3-and-out on their first possession. He was sacked for an 8-yard loss on that flea flicker attempt. Carroll goes ahead for 3 yards. Nate Noel's the other big story here, right? Re-injured his foot, the starting running back, tried to play against Auburn. He's had some big games so far this season. Had a career game against Vandy with 199 yards. So they're without Nate Noel, so we'll see plenty of Marcus Carroll, number 9. And here he is again, just goes for 2 yards there.
It's kind of going to be what we see more between the tackles from Marcus Carroll. You know, Nate Noel, much more of a guy that gets off tackle, outside with that zone stretch. Going to see a lot of Carroll today. We already have seen some Luther Burden. They got to move him all over the place. But it's been the linebacker play from Campbell and Lawson on the Alabama side that defensive coordinator Kane Womack has been most impressed with. And with Missouri needing to run the football, those two guys are going to need a big day.
Third down and 5 for Cook. Trying to extend the play on that bad ankle and just worm burns it short of his intended receiver. So they will be punting again.
Yeah, first little look at Brady Cook getting outside the pocket. The mobility looked okay, but when you sprint to the right as a quarterback, you really have to push off that right foot. Watch at the end of this as he pushes off that right foot, just doesn't get anything, right? And that ball goes into the ground there. So really tough on the run to the right, especially with an injured right ankle.
It's great work by Q Robinson, the edge man for Alabama, as Bauer sends a knuckler to the 25-yard line. Mbakwe with the fair catch. The dynamic, athletic Jalen Milroe back out there for the Tide when we return to T-Town. It was 1975 the last time that Mizzou was able to topple Bama. That was Alabama's only loss of the season. They would go on to win the national championship. Jam Miller, not much there. What's the latest with Brady Cook, Katie?
Yeah, Tess, well, unrelated to his ankle, he hit his right throwing hand on a helmet when he was last tackled. He's been grimacing over on the sidelines. Athletic trainers have been taking a look. He's even tested it throwing, and now he's in the injury tent, so stay tuned.
2nd down and 9. Milroe, and coming forward was Ryan Williams for that football.
Yeah, just a little
That's
short
incomplete.
there.
Hit the ground.
That's kind of been the story of the last few games with Milroe and Ryan Williams. Just it seemed a little bit off, whether it's a yard here, yard there, ball too high, ball on the back shoulder. Obviously, Ryan Williams, one of the more talented players in the entire country, but that relationship and chemistry still developing between those two.
The previous play is under further review for a possible catch.
So they're going to take a look at this Ryan Williams effort coming back for the ball. It was a low thrown ball. He had to try to dig deep for and get his hands underneath. The ruling on the field was incomplete.
Yeah, and he was pretty adamant as soon as he popped up that he caught it. Let's see if we get a good look at it. It almost looks like his hands were under there. Let's see if we get a tighter look at it. But you see him right away. I mean, receivers usually know.
They
right?
do.
They also always think they're open every single route in. They catch every ball, so you can never trust one. But it seemed like his initial reaction right there was that he caught that one pretty clean.
There's another look. Does he get his arms under the ball? And then you absolutely cannot tell if there was any movement with the ball, if he has firm control or not. But look at the arms.
Yeah, you know, it's tough, too, because the shadow's
That's
there.
right.
It's really dark. The football and the shadow underneath him there kind of blend everything together. Tough to tell if it grazes the grass at all.
It's a great snap zoom to try to get a peek there. Watch the ball. Can you see it hit the turf?
You see how
there's the point of the ball.
Yeah, you see the nose pops up. So I think that ball grazes the grass there. But is that going to be enough for the replay officials to go, hey, absolutely, that's incomplete. But definitely with that ball popping up like that.
Let's bring in our rules expert, Matt Austin. Matty, the nose of the ball got our attention. Did it get yours?
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you guys just said. I don't think that was a completed pass. I also don't think there was anything there to overturn. So letting it stand, I think, was the right call.
So it is incomplete. 3rd down and 9. Bama was 3 of 14 on 3rd down against Tennessee last week in that loss on the road. Let's see how they do here facing a 3rd and long. Milroe. Incomplete. He was looking for Prentice.
Yeah, it's a really tough throw. Watch the pressure come off the edge. It's going to come off the edge here, but what I want you to pay attention to is Jeremy Bernard at the shorter route. Watch Bernard right here. That's open, but the pressure is getting on Milroe so quick, his eyes never get off that first read. Could have been a first down there if he dumps it off, but great job by the Missouri defense of forcing the issue and forcing that ball out early.
James Burnap to punt away, as it takes a favorable Alabama bounce inside the 20-yard line. Big story for Mizzou is that Brady Cook was good to go today. We'll see for how long. Based on the early look you've gotten of Brady Cook, what's your sense? This is the end of the last play where he also may have damaged his hand just a bit.
Yeah, you know, he moved better getting outside the pocket than I maybe thought he would, right? There's going to be limitations, but as a head coach, you kind of got to weigh, okay, Drew Pine, what limitations does he have as a thrower, which I think we saw last week. He's not Brady Cook, so is Brady limited your better option? I think so, at least for now.
The injured ankle, and yet gutting it out, and they go quickly to Burden, and he cannot find anything. Everybody was able to find a way there, including Jordan Renaud.
Yeah, Renaud all over that one. That same play they ran first play of the game. they're going to have to decide, right? Are they going to need to max protection to try to push the ball downfield at all, right? That's kind of the quandary you get in as an offensive coordinator. I need to either get it out quick or leave a bunch of guys in to give Brady the protection, the time he needs to push the ball downfield.
Second and 10. Cook able to escape the pressure on the inside and then just gets it to LB3, and it'll be third down from there.
Second time we've seen Cook, second or third time, get outside the pocket there. It's been all Luther Burden. Last third down, targeted the tight end, but they're going to take the tight end out right now, go 4 wide receivers and 1 running back, 10 personnel. And Alabama showing pressure.
Play clock counting down. Third down and 7. Oh, and the flag came in, but I'm not sure LT Overton realized it. That wasn't exactly the cleanest officiating there.
Yeah, Brady Cook looked like he thought the play was done, but I didn't hear a whistle.
Listen, we were watching the play clock. We were watching the snap, and it just wasn't clean. And Overton, all he knows is I got a target on him. I'm going to go get it.
100%. Watch. There we go. Flag comes out late. Watch the body language here of Brady Cook. Right here. He thinks the play's done. He stops moving.
Play game. Offense. After the play, personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, defense. Both fouls will be enforced. Automatic. First down.
And you see Kalen DeBoer making some of the same comments and observations we're probably making here in the booth.
Yeah, just see if you can hear a whistle.
I don't hear one.
No, I don't hear anything, so I don't blame Overton there for continuing to play.
Matt Austin, what say you?
Well, this is a tough situation. I had to play exactly like this in Alabama one time. Exact same thing. Delay a game. I couldn't hear a whistle blow. The defender came around the corner, blew up the quarterback who was stopping. I didn't hear a whistle. I didn't enforce the late hit because I couldn't hear the whistle. I didn't blame the defender. So this is a tough one.
Matt, the way you adjudicated it, what you described, is exactly how I think it should go here. We're here in the stadium watching it. Everybody's reacting as if it's a live play and it's a full go, as was Overton. But it's first down for Mizzou. Cook drives the ball complete out to the 40-yard line to Northfleet, who, when he's at his best at 6'6", 255, can be a very good target for him.
Yeah, the second time Brady Cook has found him in a soft spot over the middle of the field. Brady looked good there from the pocket.
Second and 2. Roberts turning the corner, and he'll pick up the first down for Mizzou. They just had their first down of the game by way of penalty. And now this run by Jamel Roberts for 5 yards.
Yeah, and I think Brady Cook, the way he's evolved his throwing mechanics over the last couple of years, when he first arrived at Mizzou, he was almost like a pitcher. Very over the top, really pushed off that back foot. The last couple of years, he's really evolved into more of a new school quarterback, a rotational thrower, like a shortstop or a second baseman. So not as dependent on pushing off that right foot, which is the injured foot. So he's looking pretty good from the pocket early in this game.
Play action. Cook going to get it down to Johnson, and Johnson lowers the shoulders and can't find much. And you can see him looking at that right hand again. We showed you the end of the play earlier.
I think he's going to hit a helmet again. Watch the right hand there. Oh, yeah, right onto his right tackle. Membu there. When it rains, it pours. It's the ankle, it's the hand. You hit it again. That's Brady Cook out there, though. He's a warrior. He's going to keep going.
Second and 9. As he comes back with the drag tight end, Jordan Harris with the completion.
Another third down. Last third down, Alabama showed pressure, dropped out of it. If I'm Kane Womack, I'm starting to see that Brady's not moving great. I would want to force the issue and bring some pressure. See if you can't get him off his spot, make him uncomfortable.
Let's see if Kane Womack, the veteran defensive coordinator, does just that. 3rd down and 4. They pick up the A-gap pressure. Cook drifting out to the right and has to throw it away. There's James Smith from the inside defensively. There you see Big James coming after Brady Cook.
Oh, they brought pressure. It's a great pickup by Cameron Johnson. Watch him come late here and just slam the blitzer right there. But coverage was where it needed to be. No one open, so Brady had to scramble. But a really good job, I think, of drawing up some pressure to speed that clock up for Cook.
Bauer looking to pin inside the 10 here. Mbakwe awkward trying to field it, bobbled it a few times before finally securing it. That is dangerous to even go after that ball inside the 10-yard line.
Well, he called for a fair catch, but the bobble had the Alabama fans holding their breath for a second. But all's good after the end of that one. 3-0 Alabama.
The ball, you see Eli Drinkwitz trying to make his point. They did move the ball back to the first point of contact, which is the 7-yard line, Jordan.
Yeah, even though he advanced it a little bit further because he signaled for fair catch. As soon as he touches it, that's where that ball will end up being spotted. Not sure what Eli was up in arms about, but
Justice Haynes. There's nothing really happening there against the inside of that defense. Corey Flagg making the tackle.
And this has kind of been the story of the last couple weeks, right? We've talked about Jalen Milroe's regression, or him not playing as well, but they haven't ran the football well, especially on first down. They've had really long 2nd down and 3rd and first down situations. You got to run it better on first.
2nd and 9 for Milroe as he just goes underneath for a couple of yards, finding Justice Haynes. So it'll be 3rd down. And Alabama just at their own 10-yard line.
And another 3rd and long, kind of like I mentioned, Nick Sheridan talking to us yesterday. That was one of the main things he harped on, just being better on 1st and 2nd down, because Jalen Milroe dropped back 49 times last week. That's not where you want to live, but you have to when you're in 3rd and 8 and 9 half the game.
Third and 6. Milroe pressured and taken down and sacked. Big play, Johnny Walker.
Watch Johnny Walker working on Caden Proctor, who has yet to give up a sack this year after giving up 9 last year. He's been much improved, but watch Johnny Walker just win with the speed. Great with his hands right there, too. Swatted the hand away, dipped the left shoulder underneath, and gets to Jalen Milroe. That's one thing Corey Batoon, the defensive coordinator, mentioned. We have to be unselfish in our pass rushes. Once you get to the level of the quarterback, you got to condense and close in on him. Great job there by Johnny Walker.
From his own end zone is Burnham. And a fair catch just beyond midfield by LB3. Hey, coming up next on ABC, it is Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One as number 8 LSU takes on Texas A&M, number 14 Texas A&M. Next Saturday, Florida and Georgia and Jacksonville will be in this time slot, the 3:30 game on ABC. Don't look now, but there's Texas A&M.
Oh, we had them a couple weeks ago playing Missouri. Dominated that game, and Connor Wigman has added another element to the pass game that they didn't have with the young freshman Marcel Reed. They're much more explosive. That's going to be a duel between Wigman and Garrett Nussmeier.
Carroll goes ahead for 3 yards. You know, it's funny when you lose the opening game, and sometimes people then they stop paying attention to you for a little bit. But listen, we've spent time with A&M. That is a good roster that is well coached, as you know is the case with LSU. This is a big one tonight.
You know, sometimes it's good to lose early.
It is.
You get all the expectations, the pressure. Everybody forgets about you, and you can just buckle down and go play ball, and that's really what both those teams have done. They've gotten better every game this year, and they're poised for a playoff run, both of them.
We come to the end of the first quarter that Brady Cook was able to compete in with that bad ankle. It's just 3-0 Alabama. The SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King, returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Welcome back to Tuscaloosa. I'm on the sidelines here with Eli Drinkwitz. Your defense is off to a great start. What do you need to see from your offense to find your rhythm here?
Yeah, exactly. We got to continue to stick with the run game. Third downs, they played a lot more zone than they've showed, so we just got to settle into that.
And what was the point you were making on the bobbled fair catch?
It's a penalty, but they didn't call it because it's a judgment call. But I'm not going to get fined today.
Thank you.
Start of the second quarter. We'll explain that reference in a moment here as Carroll takes it ahead for barely a gain. What Eli's talking about was Mbakwe, the Alabama return man, who was trying to secure the fair catch. He's not running after making a fair catch. He actually is running, juggling the ball, simply trying to secure it, which technically it falls into that bucket. But even Matt Austin, our rules expert, said I would never call that because he hasn't even secured the ball yet while he's going up.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if he took that fair catch and then sprinted off 20 yards downfield
exactly.
like he's trying to make a play. It's a little bit of a continuation there. So
yeah.
I think the judgment was right to not call that one.
Yeah.
Eli disagrees.
But technically you could,
yes.
to Eli's point. Third down and 6.
Alabama showed pressure. Let's see if they keep it on. They drop out.
And there's Brady Cook. And a timeout is going to be used by Mizzou. The last 4 weeks for Alabama. I mean, can you have more of a roller coaster ride than this? You could probably the best win there is in college football. Then the stunner, the all-time stunner in Vandy. The thriller here against South Carolina with all that drama. And then last week, the rivalry and the big showdown with Tennessee.
It's been a roller coaster of a ride. I thought it was great talking to Jalen Milroe. He said, look, everybody has the same goals to start the season. Everyone wants to win an SEC championship, get to the college football playoff, win a national championship, but not everyone responds to adversity the same.
Very un-Bama-like numbers you see listed there when it comes to the national ranks, especially penalties, 130th in the country. Some of those defensive marks that just not used to seeing. Third down and 6. Here's an opportunity for the defense to showcase themselves.
Yeah, blitz zero look with this picket fence. Should get man coverage and some pressure.
Cook trying to extend the play, running out of real estate as he has to throw it away. And he was knocked well out of bounds as Q Robinson was again trying to find Brady Cook.
And this is so tough because this looks like cover zero, the picket fence as I drew, but you're going to see at the snap, everybody's going to drop out here, and you're just going to get a simulated pressure, a 4-man rush. So a lot of zone eyes on Cook and nobody open, and once again having to travel, or excuse me, extend the play and scramble there. Burden trying to get a play downfield, but as I mentioned, that right ankle going to be tough running right to push the ball downfield for Cook today.
By the way, Ryan Williams, the new punt returner for Alabama after the episode that we just saw, and great coverage by Missouri special teams downfield to get right on top of Ryan Williams.
A little change in the punt returner here. Now it's Ryan Williams. He's a tough one to bring down when you got 2 or 3 guys. Marvin Burks leading the way there. Nowhere to go for the dynamic freshman.
Also, Brett LeBlanc, the snapper.
Yeah, love that.
So Bama's going to start from their 9-yard line. Quickly back to Ryan Williams, looking to split defenders, and for a moment he does as he finds his way out near the 15.
And I kind of mentioned earlier just that chemistry and relationship And everybody talks about how young, how dynamic Ryan Williams is. And what you're seeing is sometimes the route depth maybe is a little short or a little long. And you're seeing, like last week, 20 targets, but just 8 receptions, 73 yards. So that chemistry still evolving for Milroe and the talented freshman. That's why some of those quick screens to Ryan Williams are great. Don't think about it. Just get him the ball in space. Let him make a play.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
It's going to be the center, Parker Brailsford. Just a little flinch with his left arm on that dummy cadence by Jalen Milroe.
Second and 10. Milroe. Bernard. Look at that by Bernard, and then spinning his way for a first down. Quick feet and quick decision-making, Jeremy Bernard.
Boy, he's been such a great addition. The transfer from Washington came over with Kalen DeBoer, and so good in space. But look at the blocking. Look at Caden Proctor up there leading the way. Jaden Roberts, Elijah Pritchard as well. Big boys getting involved out there outside the numbers.
Goes for 12 yards. Jam Miller. And as soon as he turned the corner and saw that space, it was instant first down, Bama, 14 yards.
Another great block by Elijah Pritchett. Boy, they're so big and athletic up front for Alabama. It's fun to see those guys get out in space.
Well, you mentioned Proctor before. He's 369. Pritchett goes 327. Now a first down run from Miller.
They move like they're 260, 250. I mean, you had 3 offensive linemen outside the numbers 10 yards downfield there on that previous throw.
Blocking for a wide receiver.
Yeah, it's just crazy. You see the size up front. Across the board, 369, 325. Pritchett, 327. Some big physical athletes for Alabama, and they're leaning on them right now.
Second and 8. Milroe's going to run it himself, and Milroe lowers the shoulders. It'll be 3rd and short. A flag comes down at the 39-yard line.
Holding. Offense, number 52. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Marvin Burks Jr. is slow to get up, and the Missouri trainers are out to midfield as you can see him reaching for the back of his right leg. So we'll take a short break while they look at their starting safety.
Level linebacker play starting with Tristan Newsome has been just fantastic. Only 35 rushing yards so far from Alabama. A lot of it came on that Kendrick Law run. Pressure on Jalen Milroe, and then Johnny Walker backed up. Got a big sack as well. The defensive front linebackers playing so well early in this game.
2nd and 16 for Milroe. He's going to launch it downfield and just beyond the fingertips of Kobe Prentice.
Just a hair too far. Great air on this ball. Kobe Prentice has to kind of adjust his route upfield a little more the last 10 yards or so. Ended up being just a hair too far. You were kind of wondering when that shot play was going to come. Kobe Prentice back healthy now. One of those deep targets they're trying to get involved.
Bama's 0 for 3 on 3rd down so far today. Now facing a 3rd and 16. Milroe pressured and sacked. Johnny Walker gets him again.
Boy, just a 4-man rush. Actually a 5-man rush from Missouri. So they're down 1 on the back end, but coverage is just great. Watch this across the board. You're going to see playing catch So he's giving a lot of cushion at the line of scrimmage, but nowhere to go for Jalen Milroe. Once again, Johnny Walker, first time working on Caden Proctor. Now on the right side, working on Pritchett. He doesn't have to do that. He's just winning with speed. That's twice in a row. Big plays from Johnny Walker.
Flag is down as Burnip knuckle punts to Burden, who muffs it. There may have been contact, but there's no flag down there. Remember a week ago, Burden had the muff punt against Auburn. Now there is a flag that comes in. Last week, he had a clean muff against Auburn that was recovered for a touchdown. But this time, there was clear interference as you see the officials gathering.
There is no foul for illegal formation against the offense. However, kick-catch interference. CV team number 9, 15-yard penalty. First down.
That's Mbakwe, who was the guy that bobbled that punt return as well. Just getting a piece of Luther Burden there. So one near special teams mistake from the true freshman Mbakwe, and another that was a mistake and was a flag. And these are some of these little details, right? We saw the penalty graphic. This Alabama team is just not sharp in all the little things in these games, and they keep adding up to bigger mistakes.
Roberts fights his way for 3 yards. This is Eli Drinkwitz right after that punt, playing to the Bama crowd. Yeah, that's us. Go ahead, keep yelling. It's first down for us.
Oh, Drink's fun, man. I like being around Eli. He's got a little chip on his shoulder, maybe a massive chip on his shoulder. So he's going to say it how it is. Not afraid to express himself.
2nd and 6. Roberts catches a hole, goes past midfield, and moves the chains. Well, the situation we showed you earlier where they rank nationally in penalties, it has been an issue for Bama all season long. Roberts trying to test the left side, a couple of yards there.
And again, it's just field position, right? So fair catch interference there. You're going to see the penalties that are not what we're used to seeing out of an Alabama program. Ranking last in the SEC this year after being pretty good last year. But it's field position. It's the little things, right? Instead of starting on your own 25 or 30, now you're close to midfield and 1 or 2 runs in a row. Now you're getting a drive going. So little things are adding up for this Bama team.
Second and 7, Cook. Outstretched effort by Marquise Johnson. Didn't really have a chance. Brown had coverage on him.
Yeah, we really haven't mentioned how thin this Alabama secondary has been as well. Kane Womack in our conversation said, look, we usually have like a 6-man rotation on the back end. 5 of those guys went out last week against Tennessee. So you saw right there Xavier Brown, one of those guys that went out, but he's healthy. Damani Jackson, you saw there, went out last week. He's back and healthy. So they're thin. Most of the guys are back, and a great job there by a true freshman as Missouri tried to take a shot.
They're without Keon Sabb in that defensive backfield this week. 3rd down and 7. Cook. Another shot downfield, and that looked like it was right off of Malachi Moore, who was up against Luther Burden III, so incomplete. 4th down.
That's just a really good job by Malachi Moore. It's a slot fade. He just does a good job of pushing Luther, taking away leverage, making him go towards the sideline and suffocating any space for that ball. And at the end does a great job of turning around here in the progressive pylon cam. You see Malachi took it off the helmet, but good job trying to find the ball there. Never going to get a flag in that situation. Great coverage once again.
So Luke Bauer into punt away. And that's going to check up for a moment before it drifts into the end zone. 8:46 before we get to halftime. Low-scoring, offensively challenged game. Homecoming weekend, a beautiful view of Tuscaloosa.
But we got to be better. We got to be better. There's no question. I mean, you can't win a football game when you have mistakes like we had out there and all the penalties.
That's Coach DeBoer talking about some of the sloppy play that they've been dealing with. Listen, he's got these signs around the facility. It says TNT. Takes no talent. Anytime there's a miscue, you got to run and go and touch that.
Yeah, you know why? Because it takes no talent to put your heels at the 10-yard line. If the punt's over your head, just let it bounce in the end zone instead of trying to fair catch it, bobbling it, or not running into the guy that fair caught another punt. So it's these little things that are just mental errors. It's a focus thing. It's not knowing when to flip that switch and be detail-oriented right now that Alabama's really struggling with.
Play action. Milroe on first down. A chance to drive the ball downfield, and he does so to Jeremy Bernard.
Boy, the attention was taken away by Ryan Williams downfield with left Bernard with a lot of green grass. And that time, Milroe put it right on him.
26 yards is their longest play today. Here's Justice Haynes for 9 yards. Let's check in the studio to Kevin.
Texas coming off their first loss, trailing at Vandy here, Boog. What do you see from the Longhorns offense?
Yeah, no, the Longhorns offense has got to get going. Quinn Ewers has got to get back to delivering the ball on time, on good catch.
He finds Matthew Golden. We're tied up at 7, SEC Network.
Justice Haynes goes ahead to pick up the first down. It's an interesting one brewing in Nashville today. Vandy, you start to gain some confidence, and anything can happen. What a season, special season there.
That's what belief will do, right? You're always going to be overmatched from a talent perspective at Vandy, but if you believe, weird things can happen, and maybe brewing once again in Nash Vegas.
Trey Norwood, the starting corner, was being taken off the field and able to jog off. It's a good sign. College football rankings are brought to you by Capital One. Texas now number 5 after what happened against Georgia, and that is the battle they're in at Vandy today.
Yeah, we say Ohio State have a close call with Nebraska and Dylan Raiola. Oregon handling Illinois right now. But the big one for me is going to be, oh, there it goes. Hey, you know what? Sometimes you're just a little late. But it's going to be LSU, Texas A&M. That one tonight has college football playoff implications all over it.
Garrett Nussmeier, top 7 in the country in yards passing per game. Jalen Milroe, of course, what he's capable of doing with the legs when he gets to the edge. It'll be a yard short of that line to gain. 2nd and 1 coming.
I think that's what Alabama fans were waiting for last week against Tennessee. For Milroe really to take off and use his legs. Not a ton on the ground. His first game without a rushing touchdown last week. So good to see him using his legs here.
Here's Miller, who goes ahead to move the chains. Katie.
Yeah, Tess, I mean, Jalen Milroe had no idea that there was a narrative out there this week that he was injured. None. He had to ask us when we met with him yesterday, well, what are they saying is wrong with me? Which shows you how little he pays attention to social media, which is a good thing. He said it's not a health issue, it's a lack of execution. He took ownership for last week's loss. He said he has to be better, and he's worked to get things right this week, guys.
You know, Katie, you had a fascinating conversation with Coach DeBoer about just how much ownership he does take, as he is tackled for a loss here. And Jordan, Coach DeBoer said this, you know, he's got to release just a little bit of that where he puts it all on himself. All you got to do is get back to basics things. But this is a young man who will always take the blame, always hold himself most accountable.
Which you want as a quarterback, but you also have to be able to flush it and move on game to game or move on play to play. And that's what DeBoer wants to see more of out of Milroe.
2nd and 12. Complete. That is Jeremy Bernard again as he's down to the 12-yard line. A good ball from Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, it's a really good job. It's just going to be cover 3. So Bernard finds that soft spot up the seam and sits down well in that spot. Milroe put it right on him again. He's sharp right now.
21-yard completion. Miller only a yard there against the interior of that defensive line, with Hicks making the tackle.
This is just great feel from a veteran receiver in Jeremy Bernard to kind of know where this void is and throttle down a little bit. Know your quarterback's not going to lead you into that post-high safety, so he throttles. That's where Milroe throws it, and that's why you see a connection like that. Kind of what I was mentioning, that Ryan Williams isn't quite there on those little subtleties just yet, but two really good guys on the outside for Bama showing out early.
2nd and 9, design quarterback run. Milroe got those shoulders going straight ahead as a flag comes in at the 12-yard line.
Holding. Offense, number 22. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That's the running back, Haynes.
Yeah, that's the play they love when they get down in the red zone. Just a quarterback sweep. Going to get everybody out in front blocking. And Justice Haynes, one of their best blockers, such a physical running back. You see just on the left side of your screen, getting a little bit too much of Deloche there.
That's the view from the progressive pylon cam. You'll see it in your frame right there, number 22, and that allowed for Jalen Milroe to get to that edge.
And sometimes you're trying to let go and you end up letting go just a hair too late, which is what you saw there.
So it backs it up to the 21-yard line. 2nd down from there. A 2nd and 19 as Milroe incomplete as he was looking for his favorite target, Ryan Williams. Meanwhile, on the other side, I'm sure Katie will be all over this. Brady Cook is heading into the locker room with just under 5 minutes to go. Brady Cook, of course, who had that severely injured ankle, didn't practice, was limited all week. And then they made a decision he's going to give it a go as starting quarterback today.
Yeah, not a great sign to see him trot into the locker room a little bit early. Maybe trying to get ahead of some treatment, but Missouri's also going to get the ball back before half, most likely, so it'll be without Brady Cook.
Third down and 19. Incomplete as he was looking for Bernard in the end zone. Toriano Pride had coverage.
Yeah, really nowhere to place that ball. Toriano Pride was all over it. The Clemson transfer coming back home was the number 2 player out of Missouri. A lot of contact on the outside. Both guys were kind of just locked in on each other. Let's see. You see, it's a good job there by Pride of turning to the football, right? He initiates, they both initiate contact, then he turns his head. So I think a good job letting that one just be a physical play on the outside.
Graham Nicholson, who made earlier from 47, this from 39, and oh so easy for Nicholson. So Drew Pine getting set to come on out and play quarterback for Mizzou when we return. 6-zip tied. What a tremendous weekend of weather here in Tuscaloosa. Homecoming weekend. You just walk through the town and it's got a great spirit to it. Let's go to the studio to Kevin.
That's Capital One halftime report. Minutes away, we'll check in on Texas. Vandy, Ohio State survives. Meanwhile, Oregon is rolling. What's wrong with Alabama's offense?
There's no identity. They're all 5 on 3rd down. They can't run the football. The quarterback is a bit inconsistent. They don't know what to major in right now. They need to figure out who they're going to be, and I think it'll help the quarterback also.
Speaking of quarterbacks, do we have a change with the Missouri Tigers as they try to find their offense? Tess, back to you.
We do indeed, Kevin. Drew Pine is in at quarterback for Mizzou. Brady Cook off to the locker room. We'll get a report from Katie on his situation. So here is Pine as they go with Luther Burden III. Of course, he can do just about anything, and that's a great option to put the ball in his hands.
Yeah, it's really going to test Kirby Moore. How many different ways can you get Luther Burden the ball? Because Drew Pine, albeit has played a lot of football, was 8-2 as a starter at Notre Dame, 4-1 against top 25 teams. So no stranger to hostile environments and good quality football, but some limitations with his arms. Excuse me, with his arm. I expect balls on the perimeter and a lot to Luther Burden here early.
Here is Carroll straight ahead. Drew Pine, you mentioned his time at Notre Dame. His biggest moment is when he was a starting quarterback and they upset Clemson. He had a touchdown run, had a touchdown pass. Now only had 9 completions for 85 yards in that win against Clemson, but he's been on the biggest stage.
No doubt, and replaced Brady Cook last week against Auburn. Had some accuracy issues. The issue really is his height, as you can see here. He's just 5'11", listed at 5'11", so finding passing lanes over the middle of the field is difficult. That's why I expect some deep throws, some shots, and some screens to the perimeter, like I said.
2nd and 6. Carroll met right at the line and driven back by Overton.
That's such a good job by Overton. He's got contain on that side. Sets the edge, redirects, and meets Carroll right at the line of scrimmage. Look at the strength and the leverage there. And Jihad Campbell helps finish it off.
Mizzou came into the day converting 49% of their third downs. They're 0 for 5 today. And now Drew Pine, the grad transfer, facing a 3rd and 6. His first pass attempt of the day, and it is intercepted. Malachi Moore. Moore on the return. Malachi Moore picks off Drew Pine. What a tough spot to come into for Pine, and Moore makes him pay the price. Interception, Bama.
Boy, the veteran safety, Malachi Moore. Watch him in the middle, just playing center field, watching Drew Pine's eyes. And I mentioned the height. I don't think Drew Pine ever saw him. Look at all these guys right in the vision of Drew Pine. I don't think he knew Malachi Moore was sitting right there in the middle of the field as he tries to find Luther Burden up the seam.
So with that interception and the return, Alabama takes over. Just over 2.5 minutes till we get to Kevin and Booger in the studio, and they take over at the 35-yard line. Jam Miller as he slithers ahead for a gain of about 3.5. Bama just had the field goal drive moments ago. That last drive was 11 plays, 59 yards. That's basically what they did in the first 4 drives.
Yeah, well, you saw the run game start to get going, so you saw the play action pass off that with the big one to Bernard, and also mixed in some Q runs with Milroe as well, starting to find their rhythm on offense.
That's when I think they're at their best. When they just settle into the quarterback runs with Jalen Milroe. Just keep it simple. Could be a free play here as he goes downfield, and he connects with Henderson inside the 5. Smart to take the strike by Milroe.
And this is so good. The exact same play.
Offside. Defense, number 5. That penalty's declined. Results of the play. First down.
2-minute timeout has arrived. The interception by Alabama has given them some memento, and Jalen Milroe with the strike moments ago. They are knocking on the door, Jordan.
Great job knowing he's got a free play and a massive pass downfield to Emmanuel Henderson to put Bama right in range of a touchdown as the half closes.
The backup who just entered the game and threw an interception on his first pass attempt, and now that sets up Bama for this. Jam Miller, touchdown Alabama. So Jam Miller, the 3-yard rushing touchdown. Jalen Milroe had the big 28-yard completion to Emmanuel Henderson, and that is our first touchdown of the day. Mizzou only has 67 yards. Bama 167, but up until the last couple drives, they were struggling offensively. And now a bit of a cushion for number 15 Alabama in what really feels like a gotta-have-it playoff eliminator type of game from here on out, with 2 losses now on the season. AT&T connected. Cam Jordan, take us through it.
Yeah, back to the interception. They're trying to get Luther Burden up the seam here, but watch Malachi Moore. Eyes on Drew Pine the entire time. Pine never looks him off. Malachi Moore just playing center field. It was a bad ball and a great play by Malachi Moore to get the interception, run it back, and set up Alabama for a big pass play of their own to get down the 3-yard line. And then it was Jam Miller capping it off for a touchdown. And this offense is starting to get in rhythm, starting to hit their stride here in the second quarter.
Miller's first touchdown in his last 3 games, and it makes it 13-zip. And Drew Pyne is coming back out. Remember, Brady Cook dealing with the bad ankle injury, went into the locker room moments ago, just trotted out. Pyne came in, threw an interception. Circuitous route to arrive at Mizzou for Drew Pyne, his 5th year in college football, his 3rd school. He was at Notre Dame, had some success there, goes to Arizona State, and now here at Mizzou. He's from New Canaan, Connecticut, from the famous Pyne family. Roberts will take it off right tackle, and a good push by Jamal Roberts on first down.
Yeah, it's such an important drive here, Joe. You've mentioned a couple times just the ramifications of this game. It is an elimination game for Missouri. I believe, I mean, it's not 100%, but if they don't win here today, I think their playoff hopes are dashed. And here with 1:30 left in this first half, Alabama's going to get the ball at the second half. So important to try to get some points here for Missouri in this Drew Pyne offense.
Burden on 2nd and 2 on the jet motion as he cuts back against the grain, and that forward progress will give them the first down. Campbell made the tackle.
Now, once again, a great play by Jihad Campbell. And here's those numbers. Chance to reach the college football playoff. With a win, it jumps big time. With a loss, still 10%, but really dim hope.
Another good run by Roberts. Listen, if you look at it, all comes down to the quality of schedule and what you can win and what you've done. Obviously, for Mizzou, you say, well, how are 2 losses not equal? Mizzou only has 1 loss. They have the horrible loss at A&M where they got blown out, and they would have to have a signature win here against Alabama when you look at the rest of their schedule, where Alabama, the 2 losses, well, they got the big win against Georgia, and of course they got the big showdown with LSU still to come. On 2nd and 3, this is Roberts, and making the tackle was Campbell.
And how much time just came off the clock there before finally
That's right.
a timeout by Eli Drinkwitz. I mean, you had 2 timeouts, couple good runs. You had over a minute and just let almost the entire play clock tick away there.
You also don't know. Obviously, you want to try to get a score here. Who knows what they're thinking in terms of managing the situation with Drew, with getting a look at Brady Cook in the locker room. Drew Pyne just threw an interception, of settling things down, assessing where they are, who they could have at quarterback once they get through halftime.
And I think that shows you they don't have a ton of faith in their ability to be a passing attack right now without Brady Cook. Otherwise, you would have called a timeout and not let all that clock tick off.
That's absolutely right. As you see Brady Cook with his helmet off. Tried to give it a go earlier today, had 7 completions for 30 yards, was sacked once. How he even was out on the field when he missed practice all week, dealing with that high ankle sprain. 27 seconds remain, first down. Drew Pyne back to pass. And he's going to check down to Roberts as Roberts will get out of bounds. We'll see where they mark him near the sticks there. And they will give him the first down.
See, that one a really good play there by Drew Pyne. Alabama sat back in soft zone coverage. He stepped up in the pocket, checked the ball down to Jamal Roberts, and picked up a first down. See if they can do that one more time and get in field goal range.
I said Drew Pyne had a really good week of practice, just didn't have a good first go of it on his first attempt. And now maybe settling in just a little bit as he looks for Brett Norfleet.
And now you got to use that second timeout. Eli Drinkwitz does. And from where it is, it'd be about a 58-yard field goal. So I feel like you got to try to get a couple more yards to give yourself a chance at 3 here.
You know, it's interesting. You come here, you see this version of Alabama now with 2 losses, and everybody's asking, what's wrong with Alabama? We said to Eli Manning, to Eli Drinkwitz when we were talking to him the other day, we said, hey, Coach Drink, what do you think is wrong with Alabama? He said, there's nothing wrong with Alabama. Look, I'll bounce to the ball here, but that's the problem, he says, with this beauty pageant version of college football. Everybody wants to critique and criticize, especially when it's the script day.
And you know what? I don't know if Alabama fans would be so upset if they were 5-2 had they lost to Georgia close and Tennessee close. It's the Vandy loss. It's the optics, right?
I completely agree. Second down and 8. No timeouts remain for Mizzou. Pine back to pass. Pine overthrows the intended target, Miller.
And Pine had to force that one to the sideline. You can't throw it in the field of play and hope to get a field goal with no timeout. So here again, you'll have to use the sideline and try to get a couple more yards to give yourselves a field goal possibility.
And timeout's going to be used by Alabama. Remember, Alabama is going to receive the second half kickoff. You got the bye week next week. They can grab this homecoming win against this Mizzou team dealing with the injury to their starting quarterback, their star Brady Cook, and then it is the showdown at LSU. And then you got Mercer, an Oklahoma team that's been struggling, and Auburn for Bama. So you sit back and you complain all you want if you're an Alabama fan, but a 10-2 Alabama team rolling through with a win against a ranked Missouri, a win against a top 10 LSU. They're going to be gathering plenty of momentum heading into the college football playoff if they can get through this and then the big showdowns down the stretch. How will Missouri handle these final 10 ticks of the clock? Pine off the fingertips of Theo Weiss Jr.
And that's tough there. Right, yeah, I was talking about wanting to work the sideline. They're playing man coverage, letting you take the middle of the field, because if you complete that there, you probably don't have a chance to clock it and kick a field goal. So it's going to be a really long attempt here.
Blake Craig will come out for what would be his career long. This is going to be a 59-yard attempt by Blake Craig. He's made from 56. And this is returnable. That is Kendrick Law. As he's still on his feet, kept his balance before being taken down and closing out this first half. (13-0). Our only touchdown of that first half was the touchdown run by Jam Miller. The defense sparked things late with the interception by Malachi Moore when Drew Pine came into the game. As Brady Cook unable to finish that game, really. Yeah. If you look at the math, Missouri and Alabama, the playoff chances basically flip with winning this game. Of course, Bama already with the 2 losses, but they do have the big signature win against Georgia, so running the table would get them into the college football playoff. Mizzou wants to avoid that second loss, and they're trailing and in a hole here on the road in Tuscaloosa. This is Henderson on the return. Katie.
Yeah, Tess, I just spoke with Eli Drinkwitz. He told me that Brady Cook will not return in this game. We saw him go into Alabama's locker room in the second quarter. He went into their locker room because they have an x-ray machine. They took some pictures of that right throwing hand. I asked Drinkwitz how severe is the hand injury. He said severe enough for him to be ruled out. This is Drew Pine's game.
And you know it had to be bad, Katie, because Brady was already playing through a ton of pain and immobility with that ankle. Hit that hand a couple different times on helmets. He took a beating in that first half.
Milroe to open up the second half, looking over his options and getting it complete to K-Law for a first down.
I love the little play design. It's just a dash pass, so they're trying to get Milroe outside the pocket, and it's a sticks route. Get past the sticks, turn around, look for the ball. Great accuracy by Milroe, and another good one to Kendrick Law.
Milroe just dives ahead for a gain of 2 after that 14-yard completion to open up this second half. Second and 8. Steps up in the pocket. This is where he's so dangerous, splitting defenders, gliding his way downfield, picks up a little bit of a shade block from the tight end and scoots out of bounds. And if you blink and you give him green grass, 32 yards later, Jalen Milroe.
Boy, and it's actually a really good job.
Dre Norwood is down.
As Dre Norwood's down, it was a really good job initially of pass rush, of kind of eating up those lanes, but it just got skinny, jumped through a hole, and then it's almost like a punt return. Watch this. Look it up the middle. It's actually a really good job by these two interior guys of kind of setting the pocket and not giving these huge rush lanes for Milroe. Watch this. It kind of squeezes, but he's just able to sidestep, get skinny, jump through the middle, and it's like a punt return. Once he gets into the open field like that, it's just unfair.
By the way, number 11, Corey Flagg's a good athlete.
Oh, yeah.
It's as if he's standing still when Jalen Milroe hits that next gear and just runs right around him. And that's the 5th play of 20 or more yards for Bama. And at the end of that play, Dre Norwood, the starting corner for Missouri, was down. This is what happened. As you see,
yeah, C.J. Dupree there.
C.J. Dupree, the big tight end.
Yeah, kind of catching him with his left hand.
Milroe, look at the time he has, and he's able to connect with Dupree. And inside the 10-yard line, and it's 1st and goal, Alabama. Burks made the tackle. A 23-yard reception for Dupree. Milroe. That time he is dragged down by Deloach.
I mentioned it a few times down here. Once they get inside that 15-yard line, Nick Sheridan loves to dial up these quarterback run plays. Deloach doing a really good job, as you mentioned, just staying patient on the backside. And that's what you got to do against Milroe. You never know which direction he's going to go. So even if you're on the other side of the field, just stay put and make sure he's not running back your way.
Second and goal. Quarterback run, a lot of traffic, so he changes directions and dives for the pylon and finds it. Got himself into trouble, but found a way out. The wheels of Milroe.
Take a look here on the sideline to make sure he stays in. Left foot in. Right foot goes out, but I believe maybe at the exact same time that ball breaks the goal line.
Where is the ball when that foot touches?
Yeah, it looks like it's... Remember, any part of that ball just has to reach the front part of this goal line. Oh, yeah. That's a touch. What a play. I mean, that play was blown up by Christian Williams. Blew up. They were supposed to go to the left, and again, Milroe just... finding a lane back to the right.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. That play is under further review.
They could have just asked us, you know. I got a pretty good look at it a couple times.
The great ones can fix things.
He's an eraser.
He is.
Because this play is blown up, and it's supposed to go wide to the left. He ends up obviously right here at the right front pylon. As you can see, as soon as that foot hits, watch where this ball is. It's not a perfect angle, but as that foot hits, that right hand and the ball look to me.
There's the progressive pylon cam that doesn't show you the ball, but it shows you that foot and where it strikes.
Nice blue sky, too.
Remember the ruling on the field. is a 9-yard touchdown run by Jalen Milroe. You know, there's times I watch him run. Forget criticizing him as a quarterback or all that, but just as a pure runner, he is elite. Absolutely elite.
There's not many guys that are more talented. Any position, I don't know if there's anybody. I don't know if I'd name anybody right now that's more talented with the ball in his hands, running the football than Jalen Milroe. And that's maybe that is why we are at times a little too critical of him as a passer, because we're like, man, if that piece just developed, he could be unstoppable. And I think he is, right? I mean, he's on the path for sure.
Rolling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So it's a touchdown run for Jalen Milroe. And to your point, we talked to Nick Sheridan, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, and he said Milroe just has to lean into the things that will bring him success right now. Ball in his hand, running will bring him success.
Well, you know why? Because the more you run, the more teams have to commit another safety into the box. And you know what that means? The more one-on-one matchups you have on the back end. So the more he gets it going like that, the more those explosive plays are going to open up.
Can keep it simple when you've got number 4 and the ability to do this. He had the big run. Pocket breaks down. Yeah, don't worry about that. And then a mess in the backfield. I'll just take it the other way. 20-0, Alabama. Who's been put into action again this week is Brady Cook, who's dealing with an injured ankle, also dealing with a damaged right hand today. He is shut down for the day. See J.R. Blood on the third row of players there, number 17. He's the grad transfer from Southern who could be an option for Mizzou as well, Jordan. Coverage where it counts, presented by T-Mobile 5G home internet.
Yeah, we were all glad to see Brady Cook on the field as healthy as he could be, but that ended real quick as he got banged up over and over again by this Alabama defense. LT Overton there with the big hit, and then once again hitting that right hand on a helmet for the second time of the game. Ended up getting x-rays, getting checked out, and didn't return, and that was Drew Pine with the big interception to Malachi Moore that really changed the momentum of this game.
Roberts can't find anything there. Tim Smith with the tackle.
And we mentioned J.R. Blood, right? The transfer from Southern. He's kind of more of a, as Eli put it, a Diego Pavia type runner, right? So if they needed to get some of those dirty yards to try to get the chains moving, they had a plan in place for him, especially in this second half, depending on Brady Cook's health. So I expect to see J.R. Blood at some point.
Again, they go with Jamal Roberts, and again he is tackled by that big defensive line. This time was Latham. Remember, a big one still to come with LSU and Texas A&M. And there is Connor Wigman, a Texas A&M starting quarterback in what is a fascinating matchup with LSU and the Aggies, and so much on the line and taking prime position at the top of this conference. I mentioned the 8 SEC top 10 teams that have already taken losses this year. It's so competitive in that upper tier. 3rd down and 10 for Pine, who's going to run it himself, and Pine looks like he's going to have the first down as he put his shoulder down and was tackled by Hubbard.
That's a great job of looking to the sideline and letting Kirby Moore change the protection. Watch Roberts come off the edge and pick up Damani Jackson blitzing from the corner spot. That allows Drew Pine to step up with some room, use his legs, and I love him being physical there at the end of the play and picking up that first.
Yeah, they were 0 for 7 on 3rd down prior to that as Manning gets the reception. That was their first 3rd down conversion.
That was the first 3rd down conversion of the game.
10.5
Either
minutes.
side.
10.5 minutes to go here.
Yeah, it's just been one of those days for Kirby Moore.
Yeah, Bama's 0 for 5.
Yeah, on the left, offensive coordinator for Missouri. Right, he had a game plan, probably more so for Drew Pine and J.R. Blood, and then Brady last minute was able to be healthy enough to get out there, and now you're back to Pine and trying to figure out how you can manufacture some yards here and claw your way back into this game.
There's Brady Cook, out injured, tried to give it a go after that incredible comeback a week ago with the ankle injury, and goes to the hospital and then comes back to the practice facility to see if he could go, comes back in the game when they're trailing, and throws 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns for the comeback win against Auburn. Nobody thought he'd even be out there today, and yet there he was starting the game. And then not just the ankle, but was dealing with a banged-up right hand. So he is shut down for the afternoon. 3rd down and 1.
This is where I thought I might see J.R. Blood, but a little wishbone formation. I expect to run up the middle.
And with that, with Roberts, they will move the chains. Well, we mentioned last week against Auburn, Jordan, really a legacy-making drive from Brady Cook.
Yeah, it was just a heroic return for Brady Cook. He goes down with the injury, leaves, goes to the hospital, comes back on the sideline after warming himself up. Big 3rd down completion to Mookie Cooper there. Looking as healthy as he was, even after getting an MRI at the hospital. When he came back late in the 3rd quarter, it was 17-6. They won that game 21-17 on the back of that young man.
Pine downfield, and it's intercepted again. Bray Hubbard this time picks off Drew Pine.
Another huge interception by this Bama secondary. And the Roll Tide crowd is rolling. Boy, once again, you're going to get a post-high safety. Watch the eyes of Drew Pine. He is going to look this direction, but look what that does to the safety. He's going to follow his eyes. He never looks to the right, never gets his eyes anywhere else. So a really easy read by Bray Hubbard to just go, oh, you're looking left, you're going to throw left, I'm going to go snag this one out of the air.
That is incomplete, as it was a forward pass to Kobe Prentice.
And Tess, those are all pretty much predetermined as a quarterback. So if I know I'm going to work that left side, Luther Burden, I want my eyes to start right, to at least just hold the safety in the middle of the field. I don't need him to move. I just don't want him to go to where I'm going to throw. And Drew Pine's played a lot of football. It's something that he probably knows. It's just things are moving really fast right now for him, having not played a ton of football in the last year.
Milroe on 2nd down. That was denied at the last second by Pride. Toriano Pride had coverage on Emmanuel Henderson.
That's really good coverage there. This ball hung probably just a little more than Milroe wanted to. He's fallen away, so he's not able to drive this one as much. You see Ryan Williams there at the top working on Deloche, and on the other side was Toriano Pride, who, like I said, made a good break on that ball that hung just a little bit too long.
Third and 10. And that diving effort is incomplete as he was looking for Prentice again.
Boy, this one probably not enough there, right? The last one hung a little bit too much. This time Milroe was able to drive it, but just not enough time for Kobe Prentice to be able to adjust to that football. So you can see just receiver quarterbacks just not quite on the same page as to what ball, level 1, level 2, they should expect.
So after the interception, Bama offense doesn't move much, and Burnap on to punt away. They came after him, and there was contact on the punter, so a flag is down as the Missouri special teams unit, trying to find any spark they could, came in and made contact with James Burnap. It was 4th down and 10.
Yeah, Little John just made some contact on the shoulder pad, actually. Misses the leg, just nicks that right shoulder there. He tried to play it off. A pretty good sell job there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Vlade Divac-esque. Yeah, it was a Northern California kid, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sacramento Kings fan, Lakers back.
That's what comes to mind.
Not sure what the confusion is here.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Running into the kicker. Defense at penalties decline. After the play, personal foul. Unnecessary roughness against Alabama #1. That 15-yard penalty being enforced. First down.
How many times have we brought up today the issues with penalties with Alabama?
And I think that was Kendrick Law. Yeah, there he is right there. Obviously had the big personal foul at the end of the Tennessee game.
Yes.
After the snap that pushed them back to a 4th and 22. And you're going to see right here, Law just go make some contact there. Don't know if that was big contact either. I mean, it was definitely unneeded. Didn't have to do that. Ball's already on the ground, but.
And there are the rankings nationally in penalties per game, penalty yardage. Let's bring in our rules expert, Matt Austin. Matt?
Well, one of the things I think replay's looking at is, did this ball contact the Missouri's player's foot?
Interesting.
Just as it hit the ground. If it did, then Alabama recovered it. It would be Alabama's ball. Still tack on the foul, but
we will take a look at that. Here it is. Let's look to see if the ball touches. Matt, can you explain that further? Because obviously we didn't see it there.
Well, yes, it was. Yeah, it was as the punt hit the ground.
Oh, as it hit the ground. Very well.
Yes.
Let's look to see where the ball lands and watch the foot.
Well, they're trying to sort something out down there. Still don't know if we know exactly.
Reminder, you'll have LSU and Texas A&M later.
Correction. Alabama is accepting the running into the kicker. That's a 5-yard penalty, previous spot. Afterwards, we're enforcing the personal foul against #1 of Alabama. It'll be 4th down.
So they're accepting the running into the kicker, so they put that forth. Then they will back them up, and you will have 4th down.
Tess, I feel like I'm in math class. I just say, just tell me what the answer is. Tell me where the ball's supposed to be. Or at a blackjack table and aces start to hit the table. Just tell me if I won or lost. Not really sure what's going on here.
Well, you would definitely have more clarity and focus at a blackjack table knowing you.
No doubt.
This is more like being at a blackjack table when you have somebody that doesn't know how to play third base.
Oh, the worst.
And they come in mid-shoe.
Oh. Don't get me worked up here. All right, so after all that, we're gonna do this again. Take 2.
So back to business for Burnham. And now, Jordan, it is today's Aflac trivia question. Alabama is 15th. That's the current ranking for Alabama. When was the last time they were ranked that low? This is something we discussed in terms of a regular season game, when was the last time Alabama was ranked this low? Of course, all the success under Nick Saban and the rarity to be framing Alabama the way we have today. I opened up the show by saying, man, I've done a bunch of Alabama games for a lot of years, and I've never said a 15. Drew Pine on first down. He drives the ball to the outside to Theo Weiss. You got to go back, Jordan. You got to guess here.
I don't, and also just saw the answer, so
let's go ahead. You can read the answer.
2011 Capital One Bowl, Alabama defeated at 15. Alabama 15 defeated number 9 Michigan State 49-7. I played Alabama that year, 2011. Mark Barron hit me so hard I don't really remember it.
That is your Aflac trivia answer. 2011 Capital One Bowl. Carroll goes ahead for 3 yards. There is Coach Saban. The sun setting here in Tuscaloosa, the field that bears his name. That was a special day earlier this year. We were honored to be here when they had the field dedication to honor the 7-time national champion. It was the home opener against USF, a game that was really tight until 6.5 minutes to play when Alabama pulled away. 2nd and 7. Pine pressured, and he's picked off for a 3rd time. Quay Roussar this time. Drew Pine has thrown 3 interceptions.
Boy, this one's going to the tight end, Brett Norfleet. I just don't think Norfleet expected this ball to come. Got his head around late, and then it's out of his reach. And another turnover for Drew Pine.
With 18 touchdown passes up against Texas A&M and SEC play, the last remaining unbeatens. 20-0. Alabama. Milroe gets it out quickly to Ryan Williams, and look at Ryan Williams. He is so smooth at times, isn't he?
It's kind of unfair how easy he makes these moves look. Like, he jumps into a stutter step and makes a guy that's got a beat on him for 10 yards miss. It's a great play call, right? Get it quickly into your playmaker's hands. Good adjustment there. Watch this. Whoop.
Tries to turn the corner again and drags a defender for another 1.5 yards. It was Marcus Clark who had him by the leg. Meanwhile, Mizzou, you look at their last 4 possessions. Well, Drew Pine has 4 completions and 3 interceptions. He is in for Brady Cook, who is out injured. 2nd and 3. Justice Haynes. He gets to the outside and breaks loose. And Haynes inside the 20 down to the 15.
Oh, just such great vision from Justice Haynes. It was blocked. Not really, really well, but it was just a better job of finding the hole. Watch this little jump cut right here. Whoop. Gets skinny, gets vertical, then bounces it back outside. That is a great effort from 22.
28-yard rush by Haynes. Milroe, as he is chased down from behind and tackled by Sidney Williams.
It's almost like clockwork. I think every time they've gotten inside the 15-yard line, it's one of these cue runs, but every time it's been different. I mean, the arsenal that Nick Sheridan has to use Jalen Milroe as a weapon in the run game is pretty fantastic.
There is Nick Sheridan, goes way back with Coach DeBoer. Well, 45 yards rushing. Of course, the great rushing touchdown we saw earlier. Jam Miller with a stiff arm to the edge and diving for the pylon. Touchdown, Alabama.
Great effort Jam Miller, but also a really good block on the outside by Kendrick Law here, right at the goal line. Working on Clark, number 8. Had him locked up, and we're going to see it here from the Progressive Pylon cam. The block and then the finish by Jam Miller.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
That's cool. Kendrick Law's a weapon, man. We've seen how good he is with the ball in his hands, but one of the best things he does is block in space. Built like a linebacker, got the speed and athleticism of a receiver, and one of the main reasons this one got in. Watch the block as he comes into frame here. He's been locked up with him for about 5 seconds. And 8 couldn't gain any ground on Law. That was pretty cool out there.
And for Jam Miller, his second touchdown run of the afternoon. Has 9 carries for 42 yards and the 2 touchdowns. Missouri's been really struggling offensively, and now you sit there and you're in this big hole in the scoreboard. You got your backup quarterback in. Who knows if they change things up and go in a new direction. Perhaps J.R. Blood starts getting some playing time for Mizzou offensively as Nicholson adds the extra point. 65-yard drive that spanned only 5 plays.
You know, until that last drive, Ryan Williams had just 1 reception for 5 yards on 3 targets. Found him a couple times there, but I've mentioned it a few times. Just some of the small details for a young wide receiver in route running and how it creates or disrupts chemistry with your quarterback. Right here, this route should break off at 14 yards. Ryan Williams drifts to about 16 yards, and that ball is about 6 inches outside. If he runs it at the right depth, probably a completion. Here on this over route, he's going to end up about 12 yards. He really should be about 15 or 16 yards on the opposite hash. Ball ends up a little high. Could it be better thrown? Absolutely, by Milroe. But if he's deeper, that's probably one he can pull down. So it's the subtleties, and again, this interception, all Bama fans remember, doesn't do anything at the line of scrimmage. So gives the corner leverage, leads to a pick. But watch here. Now he runs the route how he should. Inside move, creates separation. Back shoulder space is there for Milroe. So when he does the little things right, man, there's not many people that are as special as Ryan Williams. But any young wide receiver needs to start learning those intricacies of route depth and spacing and leverage. And he's well on his way. But I think that's a reason this pass game has kind of been up and down at times.
You know, guys, after the Tennessee loss, Jalen Milroe actually asked his staffer to put together cut-ups specifically for Ryan Williams so the two could watch the film together and get on the same page. Milroe said he'd point out what he was seeing and where he's going with the ball, when Williams should expect, say, a back shoulder throw or an over shoulder throw. Little details like that for the two of them to get in sync that could make a game-changing play.
I love that, Katie. And you think about, he has all these years ahead of him. So as he evolves, the nuances become more like a pro. I mean, the natural talent is off the charts.
Stupid.
It's absolutely ridiculous. The body control, the explosive athleticism. So you start refining the way you're describing it, and the sky's the limit for this guy. Jamal Roberts,
and
he is thrown back.
Is it a little nitpicky? For sure, right? But the only reason, you know, it's something that caught my eye in tape this week is because they were so close against Tennessee. And Ryan Williams had 20 targets, which is the second most by any player in any game by any team in the country this year, but only 73 yards. And there were just moments where, man, if that would have been a completion, it could change the game, right? And so as Alabama starts to make this playoff run, checking this box here against Missouri, if they finish this one out, those little details, 1 or 2 plays, better plays, a game from Brian Williams and Jalen Milroe could pay big dividends.
Here's Weiss as Pine got it to him quickly. And 3rd and about, a long 3.
I think it's been a little overlooked today, right, as we talk about Drew Pine's struggles and the offense struggles as a whole. Not having Nate Noel, their starting running back, was a big impact as well. Just haven't been as dynamic running the football. And you've seen the struggles they've had through the air as well.
And needed to balance things out, lean on that running game a bit. And instead, your backup quarterback is back in there, and he nearly threw his 4th interception of the day. That was almost right into the midst of Hubbard again. He was looking for Miller, and a flag is down.
Boy, this one actually A good decision and a good ball by Pine.
And that was a player downfield, number 10. That penalty decline. 4th down.
But Mekhi Miller, the 6'1", 193-pound junior, just on a slant, but he never turns his head to Pine. You see this? That ball is accurate. That hits him in the right arm. So not sure what Mekhi Miller was expecting or why he wasn't expecting the ball there, but a good decision and a good throw by Pine. Unfortunately, just not on the same page.
Ball is fielded by Williams, who then retreats on the punt return, but makes up for it. That is exactly what we're talking about with his dynamic ability. Hey, tomorrow it's F1 Mexican Grand Prix at 4 Eastern on ABC. Pre-race coverage begins at 2:30. I don't know if Katie can make her way down there on time. She did a great job down in Austin last week at Formula One. Of course, the big one is set to come your way, and Brian Kelly has made his arrival, taking on Texas A&M, the showdown between LSU and A&M. What's your read on this game, Jordan?
Well, it's a tough one. To me, I go back and forth. I think the most important player in that game is going to be Caden Durham, the running back for LSU. They have to be balanced because we saw that Texas A&M front a couple weeks ago. They are so talented. They could really disrupt things for Garrett Nussmeier.
There's Jam Miller out of the backfield. Penalty flag is down.
Personal foul. Offense, chop block, number 52 and 72. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Bring up Caden Durham for LSU as their leading rusher. He's got 8 touchdowns, and he's a guy that I think early this season people didn't realize how talented he was, and now you start to see it as the season goes on. He's got LSU in prime position. Remember, LSU is 3-0 in the SEC. A&M is 4-0 in the SEC. The early loss is week 1, and then since then these two teams have been roaring.
I think the winner of this game is going to be in the SEC championship. Loser is not done for the college football playoff at all, but the winner is in the driver's seat for sure.
That is coming up 7:30 Eastern right here on ABC. 15-yard penalty makes it 1st and 25. Final 2.5 minutes of this third quarter. Alabama shutting out Mizzou today. Jalen Milroe taken down at the 29. Well, we mentioned the SEC and how, you know, that upper tier. Listen, we've had years and years of the sport where it's been the same teams dominating, running through the sport, and the landscape has changed completely. Especially you see Vanderbilt, of course, you're winning top 25. Anybody can beat anybody else. That has been proven throughout the sport and in the SEC.
And I think that's kind of the beauty of the NIL era.
Yes.
Right? Teams are getting recruits and players that they maybe wouldn't have otherwise been able to. Now in this kind of free market system, so the competitiveness has definitely amped up.
Milroe on 2nd and 20. Here's Bernard, who turns the corner, gets out to midfield, and has a first down for Alabama.
You know what I love about this? The timing. This is a 3-step drop from Jalen Milroe, and the ball is out with no extra movement, no hitches, and that's one thing Nick Sheridan mentioned, right? Some of the inconsistencies in the pass game or with Jalen Milroe have kind of been his feet, right? He's not in rhythm, or the timing's a little off because his drop didn't marry up with the route that time. Right on the money.
8th play that Bama's had over 20 yards against this Mizzou defense, who came in with a lot of statistical superlatives. Haynes is tackled for a loss. That was Sterling Webb making a good play.
Now Webb just a great job. That nose guard position, but Missouri has not been able to manufacture any of those chunk plays, and Alabama really since the first quarter.
Right.
Quarter on really started to open things up.
Mizzou only has 144 total yards of offense. Playing without Brady Cook, who started this game, was dealing with the injuries. Ryan Williams was the intended target, incomplete, covered by Clark.
Really good effort there at the end of it by Ryan Williams. That one, though, I feel Milroe probably should have put up over the top, but, you know, kind of in between a back shoulder here as it lands out of bounds. I don't think Ryan would have been able to bring that one down. He had a step, though. If that ball's out in front, I think they got a chance.
Third down and 11. That was thrown too hard into the outside for Ryan Williams.
Yeah, I think it really might have been the pressure that sped things up for Jalen Milroe, because there was nobody. I mean, nobody around Ryan Williams there. A little bit of pressure off the edge, I think, caused that errant throw. Oh, actually, you know what? Kalen DeBoer right there. He said he sits down, he should go out. So maybe Milroe, and I'm just lip reading here, right? I'm not a professional, but maybe Milroe was thinking he was going to break out there.
As Burnham looks to pin him there, and it goes for a touchback. Our player check-in is presented by Allstate. It's the struggles that backup quarterback Drew Pyne has had since coming into this game, Jordan.
You know, I stepped on this field as a backup quarterback long time ago, and I had a tendency to throw it to the wrong team as well, and Drew Pyne's kind of had a little bit of that today. Just stared down a couple of receivers early on that let those safeties make a break on the ball, and this one just too far out in front for tight end Brett Norfleet. Another interception. Again, Drew Pyne put in a really tough spot today without their starting running back, forced into action when Brady Cook went down.
There's Brady off to the side. Long-time starter. He was heroic last week dealing with the ankle injury, and then injured his hand as well today. And as we come to the end of the third quarter, 27-0 Alabama. The SEC on ABC. Presented by Burger King. Returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Weekend here in Tuscaloosa with the homecoming game. Alabama's won 20 straight homecoming games, and we start off this fourth quarter with J.R. Blood playing quarterback for Mizzou as Carroll takes it straight ahead before being driven back. J.R. Blood's a grad transfer from Southern. Past couple years, he threw for a couple thousand yards, 14 touchdowns there.
Yeah, they call him the Rev. If you've ever seen Remember the Titans, that's the reference to the quarterback Jerry Harris there, a running quarterback in that movie as well. He's got good legs, good runner. Thought we'd see him a little earlier, but here on 3rd and 1, let's see if they use it.
3rd and 1, I think they messed up the mesh point there in the play between Blood and Carroll. Obviously, Blood doesn't get as much playing time or reps in practice, and Justin Jefferson was quick to blow that up.
Yeah, the mesh point happened way too fast. Watch how fast Carroll goes through here. I mean, Blood doesn't even have time to, he's like surprised that he went past him, and so it just throws off the timing. On those reads as a running back, you have to tempo it a little bit. You can't sprint through that because the quarterback needs to reach back, put the ball in your gut, and then ride it all the way through to give the illusion to that defensive end that it could be handed off. It just timing all off there for the backup.
Jordan, that's 5 3-and-outs for Mizzou, and their 6th punt of the day. And it does take a good bounce for Luke Bauer and the Tigers. Well, we mentioned it's homecoming here at Alabama, and they've won 20 straight. This is the scene this morning, the homecoming parade. Beautiful scene. There's Hannah Adams. She was named the 2024 homecoming queen here at the University of Alabama. She's a senior from Birmingham. She's a childhood cancer survivor, and she founded a nonprofit, Hugs for Childhood Cancer. So good for Hannah Adams. Congratulations. She is the homecoming queen at Alabama. She got some airtime with you guys on SEC Nation today, right?
To hang out with her. Really cool girl. Great day for her. Great day for Bama on homecoming.
And look at this effort from Justice Haynes here in the fourth quarter. That third quarter from Bama, it just started to really define this game, as this was an offensive game that was a real struggle, and then Bama starts to find their groove a bit in that third quarter.
Something about third quarters in our crew, huh?
Yes.
Last week we had one. Miami and Louisville got just crazy.
Did you get a lot of comments this week of, I cannot believe how nuts that?
Oh yeah,
everywhere I went, that game was crazy,
bananas. But yeah, it was good to see for Alabama fans that have been wanting to see this offense get in rhythm. Second quarter, third quarter really opened things up.
After the 10-yard run by Haynes, Jam Miller now gets to work and goes ahead, and you see the extra effort and the push to maximize that run.
You look at the score. Look at that.
That's a great look, isn't it?
You look at the score, right, 27-0, and everything's in hand for Alabama. But as we start to project forward, right, the implications of this game, what they have ahead of them, college football playoff will be on the line every single week for them moving forward. We did see some improvement on the offensive side of the ball today, but still, I think some of the little details, as it broke down with the Ryan Williams tape on the route running, you know, the pass game seems almost there, but just off as well at times. So I think a lot still to be desired from Nick Sheridan and his passing attack. But they really leaned into the run game with Jalen Milroe, especially here in the second half. And that really started to open things up.
They've rushed for 163 yards to this point. There's the slant to Ryan Williams, as Williams takes it ahead for another chunk play for Alabama. And believe it or not, that is their first third down conversion today.
And I loved it. Motion him into a little bunch that's away from the line of scrimmage. You create space. You create a leverage issue on the man-to-man defender. And anytime you give a blade of grass to Ryan Williams, he's going to take it. He's just so special with the ball in his hand. Such a good, what do you even call it, like twitch? I mean, he just...
True, most hotels we stay at.
What did that say?
Ryan Williams is faster than your Wi-Fi. Oh, Justice Haynes. That is a well-earned touchdown. Just delivering it. Johnson was sitting back thinking he's getting a tackle, and Haynes said, let me go steamroller on you. Just Mack truck this thing. Wow. Listen to this.
Trevez Johnson had about a 15-yard head start going downhill, but Justice Haynes said, hey, low man wins here. That was impressive.
Bama's 10th play over 20 yards. Justice Haynes, the big sophomore from Georgia. How bad do you want it? 34-0. Shoes Saturday Night Football right here on ABC at 7:30. An SEC final. I love sitting back on a Saturday night. Dari and Chris, Benjamin just take you through the entire day. It's tonight at 11 p.m. after Auburn, Kentucky on the SEC Network. Hey, Texas A&M, they get through tonight, and then they have a somewhat manageable ride before finally Texas again. The rivals, they haven't played since 2011. Can you imagine if it's all on the line with Texas at the end? Katie.
Tess, Alabama DC Kane Womack has to be pleased with the way his defense has played today. You know who else is pleased? His dad, Dave Womack, longtime SEC defensive coordinator. He usually stands about 4 feet behind Kane when the defense is on the field. Right now he's about split out probably 10 yards from his son. Kane said his dad created this defense, so he's extremely invested. So much so that when Kane gets done with the game, Dave sends him a page of notes on his upcoming opponent. So when Kane got on the bus after Tennessee, he had Missouri notes waiting in his inbox. I love that. Dad is supportive as heck.
Yeah, and his father, of course, a longtime defensive coordinator throughout this conference, was a part of so many great games in this conference for many years. Drew Pine is back in at quarterback as he gets it to Marcus Carroll.
I loved when we talked to Kane about his dad, like Katie mentioned, standing a few feet behind him. He said, look back one game. He's like, Dad, what are you doing? Like, get me right. You're on the field. Get me right behind me. Once a football coach, always a football coach, man. You just can't turn it off. Yeah, he's on the field. Right up in the action.
Marcus Carroll pushing that pile forward on 2nd and 5. Hey, let's look up at the scoreboard and start framing this thing a little bit this way, because there's that goose egg next to Missouri's name. The last time Mizzou was shut out was 2019 at Georgia. 27-0. Obviously a very strong Georgia team in 2019, but they're sitting there. This is a team that came into the season with incredible hype. Now you're dealing with the injuries at quarterback, at running back, at receiver, but still, it's a ranked Missouri team with a very good roster that's been developed with a great coaching staff, and they are desperate to get on that scoreboard.
Yeah, and it was definitely not the way they thought it would go early in this year. A couple close victories, they hung on, and then the first real test that we did at A&M did not go the way they wanted, but you felt a lot of hope coming into today with the way Brady Cook was able to come back to that game last week against Auburn, lead them back to victory. You thought, man, if he can just be out there for 4 quarters, the way the defense has played can give him a shot. It looked maybe that way early, that he could stay out there and be a close one back and forth, but just got too banged up and it was downhill from there.
Bama in complete control, 2nd and 5. As Roberts gets about 3 yards. Let's go to the studio to Kevin.
Tess, how about this? Vanderbilt within 1 score of Texas in the 3rd quarter. Diego Pavia, look at him thread the needle here, Boog.
How about Pavia making plays with his legs, now with his arm? Vanderbilt just hanging around.
Yeah, Junior Sherrill, the touchdown, 24-17 right now on the SEC Network. Back to you, Tess.
Yeah, Kevin, I just love the grittiness of Pavia. I love the fight in the guy.
Yeah, he's a guy that, you know, it's a great way. Clark Lee described him as if you had a clear glass of water that was our team and you put 1 drop of food coloring, that's Diego Pavia.
Yeah.
Because it starts to slowly turn the entire team a different color, and that's what his confidence did for Vanderbilt. It rubbed off on everybody, and they're playing inspired football because they believe. We saw it against Bama, and we're seeing it so far in a close one in Nashville against Texas right now.
Marcus Carroll took it ahead for a 10-yard run. Connor Tollison, the starting center, is injured at the end of the play.
Not impressed? Not all. Not in college, though. You know, that was just like...
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
No, in college?
I won't. I'll share that answer with you later. Here's Carroll again, and he breaks free. Crosses midfield. Remember, Mizzou sitting there. It's been since 2019 that they've been shut out. So Marcus Carroll is trying to help solve that. Does so with a 20-yard run. He's had a couple of good runs late in this game. Alabama training staff out on the field. Hunter Osborne, the reserve defensive lineman, was the player that they were aiding. Brady Cook, a week removed from that incredible effort against Auburn. Nobody thought you'd see him out on the field today, and yet went out there and said, I want to give it a go. Started the game, ended up also injuring his right hand. He was dealing with the ankle injury, and then they shut him down for the day.
Don't you hate that for him?
Yes.
Like, it'd be one thing if the ankle, he couldn't muster through it, right? But to be able to fight through the pain of the ankle and just to have your hand banged up and not be able to throw the way you expect to, that's such a bummer for Brady. What a warrior he is to just get back on the field today and give it a go.
Jamal Roberts just carried the ball. He had the go-ahead touchdown against Auburn. Eli Drinkwitz's 5th season at Mizzou. Had some interesting conversations with him this week. I think he understood what an uphill battle this would be and what they needed to do to try to manage it. And instead, things went the other way with Cook's injury, with Pine throwing the interceptions, with missing their starting running back Nate Noel. As Carroll goes ahead again. 14 more yards as they're marching down, trying to finally break through on that scoreboard is Mizzou.
Yeah, Bama's got a bunch of reserves in there. The holes are opening up for Marcus Carroll. That was kind of the other tough part. So obviously we've mentioned Nate Noel not in the ball game. They're starting running back, so it's been Marcus Carroll. They also have had to kind of change their run scheme. This is an outside zone stretch team with Nate Noel. That's not really Marcus Carroll's forte. He's much better between the tackles, inside zone, gap scheme. So not only are you down your starter and your starting running back, you're also kind of adapting what you do best in the run game, as we see here, an outside zone that's going to get the edge.
And Roberts is going to turn the corner, and it'll be 1st and goal, Mizzou.
So that one there, that stretch play I'm talking about, if you can get the edge on that, it's a great play. Just haven't seen that a ton with Marcus Carroll. Been more between the tackles, but Jamal Roberts there able to get the edge. And Missouri seeing if they can extend this streak without a shutout.
Roberts brings it down to the 2-yard line. You saw the Womacs there. Father Dave and the DC at Alabama, Kane. Katie did a great report on their dynamic relation. That's a good get-back coach. It's a double-fisting get-back coach. He's pulling on 2 different coaches.
Does Dad need one, though? I think Dave may need a get-back guy, too.
And as Roberts goes ahead. Now, you mentioned the fact Alabama with some reserve defensive players in there. Mizzou with an effort running the ball. And you can see because of that, this 4th quarter, they've had success with 85 rushing yards, more than they had in the other 3 quarters combined.
Let's see if these reserves for Alabama can bow up here at the goal line.
Third and goal. Carroll reaching for that end zone. He's going to be marked a yard short.
Oh, James Smith there, defensive lineman, almost kind of bear crawls. You see him on the ground there, turned it back inside. Justin Jefferson hit him first. And Alabama puts the starters back in there, a few of them at least.
4th and goal.
This shutout may not be for the game, but it's for pride right now.
Let's see if they can keep them off the board or if Mizzou can break through. 4th and goal. And a timeout is going to be used by Alabama. And with that, we will take a break. And we'll see that 4th and goal when we come back to the SEC on ABC. He looks sensational, and then against Mississippi State, and now he is in prime form. 4th and goal. Oh! Tackled for a loss is Carroll. They brought the starters back in to secure the shutout, and Kane Womack loves it. Look at how fired up that defensive coordinator is in a game like this.
Like Q Robinson does a great job, number 34, just getting some penetration. Runs right into the ball carrier right here. Bam, right there. Got such a really good job keeping his right shoulder free. And I said it doesn't mean anything to this game, right? Touchdown or no touchdown, but there's some pride there. You see it all over the sideline for Bama.
Mizzou's last shutout. Last time they were shut out, 2019 at Georgia. And Kane Womack with his father Dave by his side. Ty Simpson now in at quarterback for Bama. As they'll just try to find some breathing room with Richard Young. Richard Young, who is a huge recruit, but obviously with what Haynes and Miller has been doing, he doesn't find as much playing time. He's a huge recruit out of Lehigh Acres, Florida.
Yeah, we've kind of seen the drop-off on the Missouri side from Brady Cook to the backup. It's a luxury having Ty Simpson behind Jalen Milroe. I think really highly of him. Obviously a different style of quarterback than Jalen Milroe. Pocket passer, is more athletic than you think, but he's got a really strong arm, and he has developed really nicely over the last couple years.
Richard Young breaking loose, and here goes Richard Young past midfield before he's finally tracked down. Shamar McNeil finally got to him. That says it all. Richard Young with a 60-yard run.
Boy, just really good job up front by the big fellas, getting a body on a body, and then Young doing the rest.
There were a lot of recruiting rankings, and when he was coming out of high school, they had him higher than Justice Haynes. So here's another weapon in that running back room for Alabama, as Ty Simpson has come in for Jalen Milroe to close out this game. Ty Simpson, who flag comes down last year against USF, that really bogged down kind of game. Remember, he had to come in, led Bama to 17 unanswered points in that sluggish win.
Personal foul, hands to the face, defense, number 93. 15-yard penalty, added to the end of the run. Automatic, first down.
That's going to be the true freshman, Jalen Brown. They think really highly of him. Just got his hands up around the face mask there, incidentally.
Every game from here on out for Bama, after suffering their second loss last week at Tennessee, is going to be with this playoff elimination mode. They have to rise up and answer. Cannot afford that third loss. This was critical today to come out, have this kind of performance. Daniel Hill, as now many of the backup running backs are getting time. But that remaining schedule, you always see that bye week before the annual rivalry showdown with LSU, and that is what they have arrived at. So we will examine that schedule when we return. 2-minute timeout with a 34-0 lead. That Womack wanted that shutout and how much he wanted to make a point for his defense, and that was a very nice exchange here. Closing minutes for Alabama in cruise control against Mizzou. Daniel Hill just gets back to the line of scrimmage.
You know who loved that little clip, or who's going to love that clip of DeBoer getting after his center there? Nick Saban.
Yes, of course.
Sitting up there going, there you go. That's how we do it. Also, a bunch of Bama fans are going to love that, too, because they've been highly critical of what Kalen DeBoer's been wearing on the sideline and the signs around the building that have been there forever, but they think suddenly showed up this week.
Or the fact that he only took one call. They only fit in one call on the coach's show this week because the host was asking a lot of questions. They read into all these things. You know what solves those problems? 44-zip.
Absolutely.
Here's Ty Simpson. He gets down to the 10-yard line here. Final minute coming up. I think they're going to mark him just short. Let's see what where they spot that ball. No, it is going to be first and goal, so they'll be able to just close things out.
A disappointing loss for Missouri as they see their college football playoff chances all but disappear. But for Bama, this is something you can build upon. Get the momentum back, a dominating performance. You stay alive another week at least. And a much more complete performance we saw on both sides of the football tonight.
Yep, the big one is now coming up. Going to be at LSU. And then Mercer, a struggling Oklahoma team, an unranked Auburn team. Listen, say what you want about the two losses. They run that table. They're 10-2. That team's going to be hosting a home playoff game.
And no one wants to play that team with Jalen Milroe at quarterback, Kalen DeBoer finding his identity and instilling it in this new culture here at Alabama. This is the result they've been looking for, and Bama's going to be a tough one for anybody, and LSU is going to find that out here shortly.
4 rushing touchdowns for Bama today, 34-0. Get their 6th win of the year. Number 8 LSU, number 14 Texas A&M coming your way. For Katie and Jordan, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy watching that game. Now we will get you back to our college football scoreboard studio with Kevin.
Tess, thank you so much. Garrett Nussmeier getting ready.